Hello, happy to see you here. In this video, my ambition is to light a fire of curiosity for a topic I am passionate about, which is symbolic language. Fire of curiosity. Yes, I know it doesn't sound that exciting, but symbolic language is especially important if you are interested into spiritual stuff or psychological stuff, because it's the language of our souls, the language of our unconscious minds, the language of spirituality. And in astrology, it's the language of the 12th house, the language of hidden things. So, I am going to start with metaphors, remind us what a metaphor is, how it works, how dysfunctional it can be as well. Then I will show how metaphor is absolutely necessary to talk about the invisible things, such as the human mind, the human soul, and spiritual stuff. And from then I'm going to explain a little bit what a symbol is. And from there, the fire of curiosity should be lit, and we can keep interacting on social media or in the comments below the video. So let's start with the most basic of all metaphors. The classical example: the camel is the ship of the desert. Look how it works. It's fabulous actually. With only one word, the word ship, you give a lot of information about the camel, about camels in the desert, to someone who already knows about ships and don't know about camels, obviously. If someone already knew about camels for growing up in the desert and would know nothing about ships, we would go the other way around and say, ships, these are the camels of the sea. Which sounds a little bit funny because we are not used to think of it this way. But is it just to show how it works? There is already existing knowledge, what is already known, and the unknown. And we transfer all the knowledge we already have onto the unknown. But there is an absurd fringe. If the camel is the ship of the desert, maybe someone who really doesn't know a thing about camels could ask, okay, so how are their sails? And no, camels have no sails. The metaphor is relevant to some extent. This is analogical thinking. We say the camel is the ship, but in reality we mean the camel is like a ship. There is something similar, but it works to some extent, and beyond this extent it becomes absurd. Camels have no sails and ships have no legs indeed. What I want to say next is that metaphors are absolutely necessary. We can't do without them when we are talking about invisible things. Things of our subjective experiences, of our souls, about our inner life. For example, if I fall in love, I don't really fall. So here, falling is a metaphor. And it's relevant to describe what we feel emotionally when we fall in love. We are unsettled, and the experience we have falling is transferred onto the invisible world of emotions and feelings, because we can't actually see and touch and hear directly the emotions and feelings. So we need metaphors to describe them. If I want to talk about my love, I'm going to say something like, there is a fire burning in my heart. And possibly in my trousers as well. Let's leave the trousers alone. This is a decent video, but there is a fire burning. Another example. Plutarch, the Greek philosopher, once said about education, a child is not a vase to be filled, but a fire to be lit. Now, an opponent could say, you are going to burn their minds to ashes. And this may be a little bit absurd, but this could be enough to scare the parents or the teachers who are wary of the new methods. And another one could come and say, an education has to be built upon solid foundations. Suddenly the metaphor has changed. Now the mind is like a piece of land and the education is something we build, so it's more earthy metaphor. And all these metaphors are relevant to some extent and absurd beyond this extent. We can't do without experience to complement the metaphors. But the metaphor, we can't do without them. Without them, we can't think and we can't communicate about these things. Fire is a symbol, in my understanding, because it is a metaphor that will be relevant for many different things, which all will touch us at the deepest level. Fire can mean love. Fire can mean desire. Fire can mean passion, interest, curiosity, action in the heat of the moment, we say. Fire can mean suffering, hellfire. Fire can even be a symbol for God, as when Moses come across a burning bush in the desert. The fire can be the intensity of the present moment. It can mean many different things, and it always be relevant to something deep inside. This symbolic language is everywhere, and this is the way the mystery of life is expressing itself to us through images which are always mysterious, ambiguous, in need of interpretation. So I hope the fire of curiosity has been lit. I won't say more for now, but don't hesitate to comment, don't hesitate to connect here on YouTube, on our other social media, Twitter, Facebook, and so on. I'm Jean-Marc. I am passionate about spiritual, esoteric, holistic stuff.